a world starved for entertainment and humor, two brave best friends create an epic podcast that defies the odds and redefines cinematic.
Dude, it's just a podcast where we use short-form improv games to tell long-form improvisational movie homages.
Right. You're listening to In a World of Improvised Movie Homages. I'm your co-host, Avish Parashar, and I'm an improv comedian and a professional speaker.
And I am your co-host, Mike Worth, and I am also an improv comedian and professional film and video game composer.
We both love improv, movies, and storytelling, along with getting a little bit silly and ridiculous.
And hey, if you also like these things, then you are in the right place, because that's what this show is all about.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to In a World of Improvised Movie Homages. Super excited. We have a very fun episode today. But first, let's say hello to my co-host. Hello, Mike.
Hello, co-host Avish. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Very good. How are you?
I'm really great. I'm doing fantastic. It is finally getting cooler. The smell of coldness is in the air. The smell of death.
Smell of death.
As the leaves fall.
You might say it's getting close to Halloween time.
It is, in fact. What a coincidence. Yes.
Yeah, that's not going to have any significance at all to this episode.
No, of course not. Of course not. Speaking of which, we should tell our dear listeners what the episode is going to be today.
Sure. Why don't you go ahead and let them know our sample movie?
Yes. In fact, this is capping off our month of mayhem. We're doing this kind of like horror-themed month over at our podcast. This week, we're doing a horror film in the style of slasher flick. And there's a very specific one that we're homaging, although in general, the idea of a Jason, Friday the 13th, Silent Night, Deadly Night, that kind of stuff. But we're specifically really touching into the Halloween because of Ish.
Because somewhere right around when this episode goes live, the brand new, 10th installment of the franchise, the new Halloween movie titled Halloween Kills is coming out.
Yep.
So we figured A, it's Halloween time, and B, Halloween Kills is coming out. So we are going to do a Halloween-themed slasher movie.
Exactly. And funny enough, I believe Jamie Lee Curtis is reprising her original role, but now, of course, obviously in her...
Yeah, and
60s.
They did a Halloween...
H2O, right?
No, well, yeah, and then she died. But basically, they came out with a Halloween movie a couple years ago, which I forgot what it was called. It may have just been called Halloween, which had Jamie Lee Curtis, and it kind of did what I forgot what movie it was, but there was some other movie but it basically only assumed the first two movies that happened.
Oh, right. Well, that's good.
It was H2O that did that, basically. I think.
Yeah, I think it was H2O. And when we did our old Facebook page and we reviewed Season of the Witch, we realized there was a very good reason why Halloween 3 should just stay dead.
Halloween 3 was out, but even like Michael Myers 4, 5, and 6, Resurrection, all that stuff they eliminated, and then they picked it up with Jamie Lee Curtis and her daughter and granddaughter. And this movie is a direct sequel to that. So before we get too far into talking about these movies,
yes,
real quick, if you're listening to this show for the first time, welcome. Here's how it works. We both love improv comedy and movies and storytelling.
Yes.
That's what this show is all about. Mm-hmm. We're going to create a long form movie in audio form, telling the story by playing a series of improv comedy games.
Yes.
This show has 4 parts. First, we spend a few minutes talking about the cliches and tropes of this genre or film. Then we spend 5 minutes hashing out an outline of the story we're going to tell you. And then we spend 5 minutes picking which improv games we're going to play to act out each act of the outline we made. And then showtime. We play the improv games for you right here.
And mayhem and merriment ensue.
Mayhem and merriment ensue. So that is the format of the show. So, and we told you what the genre is. And real quick, before we get into our first segment, if you like this show, please head on over to whatever podcast app you have, ideally Apple Podcast, and give us a 5-star rating. And if you feel so inclined, go ahead and give us a short review. That really helps us grow the podcast audience, let other people know, hey, this is a show worth listening to.
Exactly.
All right, Mike, you ready to get going?
Yeah, baby, I'm all set.
All right, then we begin. Segment 1, discussing the tropes. All right. So now we're going to spend 5 minutes just talking about the tropes, cliches, and commonalities of Halloween slasher, like slasher movies in general, but real specifically Halloween, because Halloween has a few specific elements that make it Halloween versus Friday the 13th or something else.
Exactly. And Avish, I'm actually going to have, a lot of times you'll have me kick it off. I'm actually going to have you kick it off, and I'll tell you why. I'm a little shamed. I have not seen Halloween in about 5 or 6 months because I forgot to kind of watch it and prep for this. So I'm a little rusty on the Halloween tropes, but you know it really cold. So if you start off, that'll help me kind of remember things. Otherwise, I'm going to go into Freddy Krueger and I'm going to go to Jason.
All right, so I'm going to start with start the 5-minute timer.
Yep.
You'll hear the duck quack when that ends.
Yes.
All right, so a couple tropes. Number one, obviously, you have a human killer who is sort of more than human. They sort of are unkillable. They have that magic walking power where someone else runs, but they walk and they still catch up to them.
Yes, their walk is greater than others' run.
Yeah, exactly. And they have the sort of disappearing act thing where, you know, the character will walk and you'll see Michael Myers in the background. And then when the character walks back across that same like doorway, suddenly the killer's suddenly gone. So they kind of appear and disappear.
Yeah, totally. Now let's talk about the protagonists of this. There's a couple different ways you can go. In this case, I believe, how into the Mike Myers we're going to go, because it was, I believe, a psychologist, and like Mike Myers was like a emotionally disturbed person. Are we playing that route, or are we doing the whole?
Well, yeah. So we're talking two characters really. The protagonist, I'd say, is the teen victim. Certainly in the original Halloween movies and the whole genre that spun off, is a teen female. I posted to Facebook, and we're a new show, so I didn't get a lot of responses, but my one buddy Matt, I posted like, what are some of the tropes? And so he posted that the cliches are the innocent are the people who survive and the not so innocent don't. And that became a big trope, but Halloween was really like the first one. Like the Jamie Lee Curtis was very innocent and pure.
Yeah.
All her friends who were doing drugs and drinking and having sex died.
Right. That's very true. And that was even riffed on in Scream. Scream actually lifted that idea and really ran with it. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
He also said it's usually like an everyday people in an everyday setting. So like a small town, which is definitely a Halloween thing. You know, they're not in a major metropolis, but so kind of a small town feel, like Haddonfield in Halloween.
What causes the killer to focus on the small group of teenagers? Is it some wrong that happened to his family earlier by them?
Yeah. So in the first Halloween movie, he just went back to his hometown. As a kid, he killed his sister and then got sent to an asylum. And then he just went back to his hometown on the anniversary. In subsequent movies, they added all this mythology about how Jamie Lee Curtis was his sister or half-sister. And so that's why he was specifically targeting her. That may or may not have to be in our story because it's almost more terrifying and mysterious that was random in the first one. Like
that could be cool, yeah. But you also go that if you know, for example, some of the ones like I Know What You Did Last Summer, those are like that act of like, or even Freddy Krueger, where it's like the sins of the family are visited upon the kids, you know, like that kind of thing.
Which we can have, but I think these movies are generally a little bit, even if they're getting revenge, like Jason, it's about like it's not specifically against the people that wronged them. It's just in general, like
he's just generally
really bad happened here, so I'm going back to continue it or get revenge.
All right, cool. Yeah, I like that.
Now, the one thing that Halloween had that a lot of these other movies don't is Dr. Loomis. So there's a
Dr. Loomis,
the great Donald Pleasence.
That's just saying. Also,
sadly, I think Halloween 6 was his last movie, or one of those horrible Halloweens was his last role.
Oh man, that's what he left on. It's like Raul Julia leaving on Street Fighter. Oh, geez.
Yeah, exactly. But there's like in this, I think having an obsessive like scientist or doctor or someone who's a little bit proactive in the hunt.
Yeah. Is he also oftentimes responsible for this person's maniacal disposition? Like he broke him or something like that?
Can be. That's not really the case in Halloween, but it definitely can be.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of like just trying to come up with like things to drive our story. But yeah, no, you're right. There's a maniacal doctor, or not maniacal, but obsessive, who's kind of like knows a lot about the patient and kind of trying to bring him to justice. What else?
There's a lot of like, there's a lot of stalking. So a lot of like tension building. Like the first Halloween is surprisingly not that gory, but there's a lot of like Michael Myers is there, then he's not. Is he in the house? Is he not? So there's a lot of like stalking and suspense.
How do they end up in Halloween? How do you end up defeating him other than just good old fashioned blunt force trauma beating him to death? Like, is there any sort of like secret trick? Do they kind of tap into some aspect of his psyche? You know, like one of the Friday the 13th.
Not in Halloween. In Halloween, they kind of blow him up in the second one. He gets stabbed and shot in the first one.
Blow him up.
You know, mysterious death in the fourth one. He gets captured in the fifth one. They don't even kill him.
Oh wow, really? Okay. Yeah, this is
They
clearly
burn him,
you've
they
done your
burn
research.
him in the last Halloween, the new one that came out. They just burn him.
You've clearly done your research.
But evidently he comes back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, they don't. There was some. That's 5 minutes. I don't think it's true, but there was some. Oh, the mask is key, right? There's always a mask.
Oh yeah, always. Or the face is always hidden. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was some theory that someone said, which I don't think was validated, that if you watch the end of the first Halloween, Michael Myers is trying to choke her, and she pulls off his mask, and then he like steps back and he's trying to get it back on. That's when Loomis shoots him. So it's almost like, but I think he actually gets the mask on before he gets shot. But someone was like, oh, well, his mask was off, so he didn't have his like invulnerability, which I don't think is true. But
that sounds
he
like
cared about his
service.
mask enough that he stopped trying to kill his target to put his mask back on. So
yeah, so you know, vanity and all that, right? So,
but you know, in terms of story, this is not like some of the other ones we've done that have a very involved outline plot structure. This is like there's a killer, he comes to a small town area, stalks a lot of people, ends up with a final girl, and there's like an obsessive guy trying to stop them.
wow. All right. We'll figure out a way to make this story have some teeth, you know. But I mean, you know, simple is good, right?
Yeah, because there's a lot of room to play.
All right, cool.
All right, so that's segment 1, which is the outline, which brings us to segment 2, creating the outline. So now that we've got the tropes, we are going to spend about 5 minutes just hashing out a high-level outline. We use a 4-act structure to tell our story, and just the disclaimer is it's going to be a high-level outline now, kind of roughly what will happen in each act, but it's improv comedy, so we may completely throw this away and veer off of it immensely. But it gives us a starting point. So I'll set the 5-minute timer now, and away we go.
All right, first thing, prologue or trailer? We can get back to that.
Now, I think in a lot of these, you have the prologue of kind of what happened before. Like, you know, you talked about that inciting incident years ago that he's coming back for.
Yeah.
So the prologue will often have that. So I think a prologue might be good.
On the other hand, we could also go with the whole, this dude just shows up and starts killing. Right? Kind of like Maximum Overdrive, right? We're just like, all right.
Yeah. So it really comes down to, are you more in the mood to play an improv game for a prologue or to do a movie trailer?
Let me get back to you on that. I'm not sure yet. I like them both. That's a good place to be.
So we'll figure that out.
Yeah, we'll go to Act 1.
All right. So in Act 1, we're going to meet meet both main characters. Yep. Meet the main girl, and it's almost always a girl, so we'll probably stick with that.
Yep, I agree.
And meet the obsessive dude.
Yep, those are the two main characters. And
they may not necessarily meet at this point. They often don't until later.
And probably some second-tier characters because you got to get some cannon fodder.
The friends, yeah, the friends who will be picked off.
Yep.
They will not be picked off yet.
No. Are we playing the game where they go to an abandoned place? Are we going to do that thing like Don't Blink, where let's go to a cabin in the woods, you know, or let's go to a boat?
I don't think so. For a Halloween movie, no. And I think, you know, we started a slasher movie months ago, and that you can see if you go back to our podcast archive called Summer of Decay.
Yeah.
And that was supposed to be a Friday the 13th style one, and it quickly became more supernatural with like a monster. But
right, but I remember they went to the beach.
I think that's one of the things that separates Halloween from some of these others is they are just in a town. They're not like in a abandoned locale.
Cool. And so
I think we'll see the villain being creepy, but he's not necessarily gonna kill anyone here
until the end of Act 1.
Or he might kill like total randos.
Yeah, actually, the end of Act 1. Let's have the killer kill a rando, just to show that he's dangerous. Because then Act 2 will be when he actually just puts his sight on the group of friends and starts just offing them. Does that sound cool?
Yeah. All right. So yes.
Well, we reserve the right to change it.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say that I feel like so that's Act 1. So yeah, in Act 2 is almost where you get a lot of the creepy stalking, maybe kills like one person. Like I think there's a lot of stalking in Act 2, a lot of like suspension building.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Dr. Loomis investigation. Like he's talking to the sheriff. He's trying to get in contact with the main girl. if the main girl's connected. If not, he's just trying to find the killer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Contact main girl.
And I think this is where like the final girl, the main character, kind of keeps seeing the killer, but then the killer's not there, and she's like, "What is that? Oh, that's weird. Like that's a creepy dude." And I guess the thing we didn't talk about in the tropes, which we can decide when it comes to titling, is, you know, Halloween obviously is themed around a holiday. Are we going to theme ours around Halloween or around a random holiday? Or we can figure that out as we go.
Random holiday.
All right. So the doctor investigates. There's probably some killing.
There has to be by this point in time. Otherwise, we've gone too far into the story. That's what's going to probably get the doctor to come. He's like, the killing will happen. The doctor like, oh, it's happening again. Kind of like Supernatural, where they're like, not.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then when we get into Act 3, I think our main character, I think in the beginning, she's like a little freaked out, but doesn't take it too seriously. I think something happens, and in Act 3, she gets more concerned. Like, all right, maybe she like tries to call the police, and she's like, "There's this guy, and he's doing something, and I don't understand."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At this point in time, also the body count starts to stack up.
Now is where the friends really start to die.
Yeah. Body count stacks up, and then
I think we see a lot of the friends die here.
Yeah. I've already got a game for that. I've already got a great game for Act 3.
Nice. And so I think by the end of Act 3, it's pretty much just the two main characters and the villain are left alive. Like,
Yep. And this Act 4 is going to be it's this late in the game they become proactive. This is when they set a trap for the killer and they work together to kill the killer or get him arrested or something like that. So Act 4 is all about turning the tables on the killer and luring him in, right?
yeah, although you almost never see in these slasher movies, they very rarely become proactive. Like in Nightmare on Elm Street, she kind of did, but in Halloween, Laurie Strode's just running for her life, right? In Friday the 13th, she's just running for her life. In Scream, they're just running for their lives. Like there's very little table turning in slasher movies, which isn't to say we can have that.
You're right. It was Friday the 13th was the Nightmare on Elm Street was the only one where she set up all those Home Alone.
Yeah, she set the booby traps up in 10 minutes. She's rigged her whole house.
Oh yeah, we didn't use that in our own Facebook group. We're like, let's talk about the reality of time dilation there. Okay, so
I do say it's like, in a lot of ways, Act 4 in these, and that's the timer, but we can keep going. The slasher movie is it's like one giant chase sequence, and maybe the obsessive protagonist is trying to be more proactive. And this is where like in Halloween, it was Laurie Strode and Dr. Loomis didn't meet till the very like last frame, basically. But they can meet earlier, and then the doctor and the main girl can work together to try to stop.
Okay, yeah. Let's go with it that way. Let's go with Act 4. Like it's down to the last two, and it becomes like a big old like fight and flight for your life kind of thing, you know. And
there can be a turning of the tables. Even like Terminator, right, which in a lot of ways is like a slasher movie. She doesn't turn the tables until the very, very, very end, like the last, you're terminated fucker moment.
Oh yeah, which is great. Yeah, and Cameron kept on giving you the false ending on that. Like, I think it was like
false ending, but
Terminator
she just
died 3
continues
times.
just running for her life until she kind of figures out at the very end how to, crush the Terminator to death.
Yeah, it's true. So we can go with that, and that means that we have the choice to go mysterious death or final death. Especially if we don't want to do a sequel, we can just do final death. Or is it?
Like I said, his death in the last Halloween that came out a few years ago, it was definitive. He was like trapped, burned to death. They watch him burn, and he's coming back.
He sure is, baby. That's what he does. All right, we got ourselves a good flow here. I think we can build something good off this.
So that's our outline, which brings us to the next segment. Segment 3, choosing the games. All right, so now that we have our outline for each act we are going to pick one improv game that we are going to play to act out that part of the story. We'll be referring to them by name. If you don't recognize the name, don't worry. At the end, we've got all our games set. I'll explain what they are. And then when we go to play them, we'll do a quick recap so you know the rules of the game that we are about to play.
Right.
So let's set our timer for 5 minutes.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm making the call. Let's do a trailer. I want this killer to have like no past, right? Just like kind of like Jaws, like just like this force that just shows up.
I like it.
Let's do it.
Easy. Right? Which, if we're gonna do a trailer today, I'm gonna throw this at you, which may not be possible based on your rig, but you should throw out a quick, non-copyright violating version of the Halloween theme for us to use as our trailer music.
Oh yeah, dude, totally. And you know what I can do? Here's what I can do, which will be great. we can record this like this, and then I can go back in and write a little bit of music under it. Does that make sense? Am I allowed to do that?
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, because that
We'll
way
just
we
let
can,
people know that if you hear music underneath the trailer,
that was done
may have been
after.
post-produced.
Yes.
But everything else is being done live.
Right.
So.
The trailer is live improv, but I'm going to overlay some music afterwards because I have to write some shit anyways. That's actually a cool idea if we do trailer. I'll start overlaying. See, we come with ideas for our podcast. This is great.
You go.
I like this.
All right. So first idea is the prologue. We're going to do a trailer to open with. Then, Act 1.
Act 1.
Where we meet the characters and we meet the friends.
Yep.
We see the villain. This is a lot of establishing stuff with some maybe 1 or 2 random kills from the villain.
Right. Maybe at most.
So this could be a little bit of like a slower building storytelling type game or a game that has more narrative to it.
Yeah, yeah. We could do happily ever afters. That's interesting.
Whoa, happily ever after.
Well, because you know what that would mean? That would be a slasher fairy tale.
All right.
Wait, I don't know. Do you want to do that? Like this could be really cool. It could be a train wreck.
So it's interesting because Happily Ever After as an improv game, there's no game structure. It's literally just a starting point. So you're saying we take a story and continue it, like either a fairy tale or another movie or a slasher movie, and say, here's how it ended. And then after everything was good, here's what happened.
I don't know. What do you think? I'm like...
It's an intriguing idea. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, me neither. You know, it's kind of like... I'm not sure yet. Let's hold off on that. That could be.
All right, let's table that one.
Yeah.
Well, Act 2. This is where there's a lot of stalking. The doctor is investigating, and there's maybe a little bit. He starts killing a little bit here. He's not going crazy yet, but he's starting to kill.
Gibberish Switch. That's a solid one, and we can go back and forth between narration and scene. What do you think?
All right, so we'll do Gibberish Switch. Story. So it'll almost be like Typewriter, but with Gibberish Switch.
Yeah, and then we can always jump into a multi-person scene, but still be triggering Gibberish Switch, you know?
Right. So that's the Typewriter element, like we're telling the story and then periodically jumping, acting the story, but in both of those cases, gibberish. Okay.
Love it, yeah.
So we'll do Gib, Switch, Typewriter. Okay. Act 3, this is where... this is when you had an idea for.
Yeah, but you describe first if you get, then I'll do the idea.
So Act 3 is... This is where the main character starts to get a little bit more savvy and like something's wrong here. She starts investigating or talking to the police. But the body count, this is where basically the body count starts to rise and the villain has essentially by the end of this act killed off all of the friends of the main character.
Yeah, I'm thinking best of times, worst of times, because every death is just like, let's get it, man. I don't know. I think it could be great for like the death scenes.
It could be. My only hesitation, best of times, worst of times, is that we do a lot. I think we did it on our last week's episode too.
Oh, did we? Let's do something different then.
Which is fine. I was thinking something that maybe would have a sequence of scenes, like a Time Styles or an instant replay, something where you see like, because we want to see like 3, 2, 3, 4, 5 like friend deaths.
Yeah. Instant replay or style. What is it? Style? You said Style Guide. Is that the one that you do where like you?
We did as time. We called it Time Styles, where normally you would do the instant replay, which is where you do a scene then replay it. Here you do like each scene would be in 3 minutes. You do as many scenes as you can.
Different
so we'll do
genres.
a version of Time Styles.
Yes, and we get
in a little bit.
we get different genres. I've done that's gonna be perfect for this. That's the greatest. That's better than best of times, worst of times.
All right, and so we'll finish as we do Act 4 with Cutting Room.
Yep.
And I'll explain this in a moment. We got to go back. Okay, so for Act 1, so
let's not do the fairy
tale. The other thing we want to keep in mind for Act 1 is we do need to quickly introduce and establish the friends in addition to the, there's like the 3 main characters, the protagonist and the doctor and the villain. But we need to establish the friends who are all going to get picked off. So something where we can meet a lot of people very quickly, I think would be a good one too here.
Yeah, last word, first word, maybe last letter, first letter. Or superheroes.
Superheroes might be a good one.
All right, but you got one too.
Well, I got a real random one. I don't know if this will work. I don't know if we've ever actually played this. I've heard this is an improv game that I don't know if we've actually played. But something like the dating game where you kind of meet the characters. But in like a dating game format. Remember the dating game?
Yes. player number one, what would you do to make my dream first date happen? Well,
right, and we can do like a couple rounds where one is like the three friends and one is like the protagonist, the final girl, the bad guy, and the obsessive doctor.
Do it. Let's do it. Who cares? It's our freaking podcast.
All right, so
I think it's going to be funny as hell. I'm
we'll do like two quick dating games, maybe with like 2 questions each. And maybe one round I'll be the host and you'll be the 3 guests, and the next round I'll be the
and one round will be the 3 friends who will die, and one round will be female protagonist, creepy doctor, and the dead and the killer. That's the killer. Yeah, the killer will actually be in the dating game.
Yes. All right. Perfect.
That's it. We got it.
I love it. Baby, improv comedy, so good.
We're doing it live.
So random little thing here before I recap the game. So I'm playing around with a Facebook ad to try to drive some traffic to the show, and so far, I got 1 comment on the ad, and of course, it's like some trolly guy who's like, "What's the point of audio improv? Half the fun is the body language." I'm like, screw you.
Yeah.
And to me, this is the fun. It's like you get random stuff, and some of this stuff actually you can't do. It'd be actually much harder to do some of the stuff we do on this audio show if we were like live in front of an audience, because like we can like paint a picture of what the show thing looks like. And so if you disagree with that person, then go to iTunes or Apple Podcasts and
shut his ass down
and leave us a review that says, you know what, it's audio improv, but it works great and it's a lot of fun, and I can listen to it in my car while I'm driving. I don't gotta like sit down and watch a video. So help us out, support us, and let this troll know that
it's like an
audio improv can be a lot of fun to listen to.
Exactly. Yeah, man. Shut him down. Shut him up or shut him down.
Shut him down. Shut him down. Shut him down. All right. So real quick, the recap of the games. Number 1, we're going to improvise a movie trailer with a little bit of music and maybe more music in post-production.
Yes.
Number 2, we're going to play the dating game, which if you're younger than about 40 years old, you may not remember, but it's an old game show where there's a host and a man or a woman, 3 people who he or she can't see, and they ask them questions to kind of set up the date, and then the person picks. And Act 2, we're going to do a game called Gibberish Switch Typewriter. So we will be telling the story. Mike and I will be telling the story. And at any point, if one of us will start, when the other person claps, that person picks up the story. So we're kind of continuously telling the story, switching roles. At any point, any of us can double clap. When we do, we start acting out the scene.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference here is at a point, we got to figure out the clapping when we get to it. We can also clap to switch from English to gibberish.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then from gibberish to English. It'll be a little easier to understand.
Yeah.
Play it. Time styles, we're going to do a series of scenes in, 3 minutes, maybe 5, depending how we feel at that point, where we're going to get a suggestion and quickly rifle through a series of short, like 20 or 30 second scenes based on either some common theme or some common switch. And then we finish with a game called Cutting Room, where we start out with a scene and then we periodically can clap and cut to different parts of the story. And again, we'll go in a little more detail when we get to it. All right, and so before we start the show, the final thing we need is a title for this.
Right. Do we want to pick a holiday to do, and then we'll build the title of the holiday, or just let it happen completely free?
That's a good question. I mean, I guess if we're going to pick a holiday, so we're not going to do Halloween. Let's just pick a title, and then let's just do a 1-word title. We're going to make our title 1 word at a time. Each of us contributing 1 word. So we'll go for like 3 to 5, and that'll be our title.
Got it. All right, I'll go first. Ready? 1 word at a time. Okay. Title of our movie. Fallen. Fallen. Fallen.
Night
of
Terror.
Nice. Sufficiently vague.
Okay. Nice, vague, generic horror movie title. Fallen Night of Terror.
Unnamed horror project number 45.
All right. So, all right, we have our title, we have our outline, we have our improv games. And so now that brings us to the final, segment 4. Segment 4, showtime. All right, so now we are going to act out this story using these improv games of Fallen Night of Terror. So we will begin with a movie trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically that's all the game is. We just kind of do a trailer. We might jump around, do a couple scenes. Whole thing takes like a minute. And we we may have a little music, and we'll see what happens.
Yep.
Are you ready, Mikey?
Yes, I am ready, Visha. Why don't you kick us off the trailer? Because you are in this world. This is like in your brain space.
Okay, I'm not only in this world, but in a world where some celebrate the winter solstice peacefully with love and harmony.
Ah, it's time for your sugar candies. It's time for all the great dancing and the beautiful music. Merry midwinter solstice, everybody.
One man, one creature returns to the town he grew up to get revenge for a solstice gone wrong.
Did you see a shadow behind that giant decorated tree? Ah, must have just been your imagination. Yeah, must have been.
This December 21st, return to the small town of Clarksville to witness a fallen night of terror.
Ah! They're all dead! Ah!
Be there or be dead.
Excellent. We're refusing to commit to anything except a name.
That's the part of the trailer. Well, we know it's the winter solstice, and they're in a town of Clarksville.
I like that. Stay out of Riverdale.
Go figure. I said small town, so I didn't want to say Smallville. So, of course,
Clarksville. Yeah, I just thought of that. I was like, are we playing with okay, that's cool. That's
Maybe
great.
Superman will make an appearance. Who knows? All right, so we have our prologue. We have a trailer for Fallen Night of Terror.
Yes.
And so now we will do Act 1, which is basically just meeting the characters, and maybe a little bit of storytelling will come out through this format. Playing the improv game, dating game. So we're going to do 2 rounds of this, probably 2 questions each. We'll see. One of us will be the host, asking the 3 quote unquote guests. One round will be the 3 friends. The other round, the 3 people will be the main character, the obsessive scientist, doctor person, and the villain. And just asking random dating game type questions like, oh, if you are a type of ice cream, what would you be?
Yeah.
And then oftentimes there's randomness or innuendo or whatnot. So we're going to meet the characters, establish some things, and then we'll take it from there.
Awesome. All right, so each of us will be one of the 3 back and forth. Do you want to be the doctor, the protagonist, and the killer, or do you want to be the 3 friends?
I'm fine with either. You got a preference?
I'll be the 3 friends, because I think it's going to be a lot of fun for you to channel the killer and the doctor and stuff.
So I'll be the... All right, so you want to go first? I'll be the host and you be the 3 friends?
Sure, yeah. So I'm just going to write down real fast. Lead, doctor, and killer for the names. And then we're going to have friend 1, friend 2, and friend 3, right?
Yep.
All right, great. We're all set.
Okay, so hello, everyone. Welcome to the dating game. We've got a special show for you here today. We've got 3 very special guests here to meet. These are friends of what we are calling the final girl. So we are going to meet them by asking a series of questions, and you can decide which one you'd most like to date. So let's begin. Friend number 1.
Yes.
If we had a night unexpectedly off to do anything we wanted, what would be your activity to romance me?
Well, my favorite thing to do would be to go and just pour sweet, sweet, sugary confections all over your body. So I would love to go to one of those cheap carnivals with the creepy clowns handing out the cotton candy and just roll you around in that cotton candy and then just lick all those crystals off you. Then we'd clean you off by going to ride in the Canal of Love inside that same cheap carnival, hold hands, sticky of course, as we sat on the swan boat. And finally, when we got out, I'd go dip you in that chocolate that then congeals, and then I could just tap little bits of you off and eat them.
All right, then. That sounds very unsanitary, but you are clearly the slutty friend. Well done. And for the sake of our show, we're going to just use first names here. Looks like your name is Cherry. Very appropriate.
Isn't it?
All right, friend number 2. Same question, but imagine that this was a holiday date. What would you do to romance me and make me feel loved?
Well, speaking as a guy who loves holiday, in fact, my name is Dave, which is holiday with a V at the end. I would do a lot of appropriate research into the back end story of the holiday and maybe take you on a magical tour, learning all about the histories and the excitement of what makes something like Arbor Day such a great day. Then we would go get a themed dinner relevant to that particular type of holiday. I'm sure that you would find yourself both ecumenically cleansed as well as having your palate dealt with in a pleasing and tasty manner.
Well, Dave, you are clearly a nerdy best friend. It's no wonder you came on a dating show to get a date. I will be surprised if you make it anywhere remotely near the end of Act 3 in this story. Well done, Dave.
Certainly.
All right. Friend number 3, a different question to you. If you were a car, what kind of car would you be to give me the best ride possible?
Well, it's funny you should ask that because I, in fact, love to work on cars. In fact, that's how I made most of my money. I worked on cars for my dad's 3 dealer ownerships located in Rock Plains, Plainsville, and Ville Rock. I think the best thing about a car is how it feels when you plant your rear end in the seat. So to that end, I'd be giving you what I like to call the Monster Seat Madness 4x4. It's got a great roll bar that prevents you from falling out of your car no matter how many times we flip and get trashed. And the whole time, your butt stays firmly in that seat, cool and comfortable. And you can tell anyone that you know that Ralph from Ralph's Auto told you to use that car, located in Rockville, Ville Rock, and Plainville. Plainville, and Ville Rock.
All right, Ralph, thank you for fulfilling the bro quotient of our show. And really, the thought of going on a date with you makes me want to, Ralph. I think we've learned enough about our 3 contestants to decide that I wouldn't want to date any of them, but at least Cherry would be for a good time. So that is this episode of The Dating Show. Now we are going to continue after a short break where we are going to meet the 3 main characters of this movie using the dating game.
Hey, welcome back. It's so great to see everybody here. I'm so glad you made it on this episode of the Slasher Dating Show. We've got 3 lovely guests here, and I'd love to just have each one of them introduce themselves. We'll start with contestant number 1. I'll ask her a couple of questions. Contestant number 2, I'll ask him a couple of questions. Contestant number 3 will be asked questions as well. So first, contestant number 1 on our show, the protagonist. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us how you would like to be called?
Well, my name is Heather. I'd like to be called Heather.
Lovely.
I don't like it when people call me other names like Cutie or Stupid
or Spongebutt.
Or Spongebutt. I don't like Spongebutt.
Of course.
Just call me Heather. It's very respectful. It's how I like to be called.
Wonderful. Well, Heather, you have a very exciting role in this movie. You're going to be the protagonist, which means you may or may not live to see the end of it. But we're not here to ask that question. We're here to talk about the wonderful holiday of midwinter solstice. So I want to ask you, if I were going out on a date with you, what would be your 2 favorite colors to show me as we walked around the midwinter solstice, and why?
Well, I would like to show you white because it's the color of snow and it's so pure. And I like to look at pure, undisturbed snow that hasn't been touched by anything or anyone ever.
Yes.
And it's really beautiful. And then I'd want to show you gray because here in Clarksville, it's very dark and depressing as I sometimes feel in my insides, which is why some nights I just like to stay home and write in my journal and not go to parties and things. So white and gray are my dating colors.
Oh, fantastic. Full of rich emotional value. Well, we've got one more question for you before I move to the next contestant, which is, if you were to be a small herbivore, which would you be and why?
Oh my God, if I was an herbivore, well, I guess thinking of herbivores, I'd have to be just a cute little guinea pig because they're cuddly. And sometimes I feel like I'm just the guinea pig in God's lab. My life has not been very good. And I feel like God is just testing on me and testing me over and over again. And I'm alone. I don't have a lot of friends and I have no siblings. My parents are gone. So I most associate with the guinea pig.
That's a great one. Well, best of luck on this dating show. Moving on to contestant number 2. He's the strange, obsessed doctor you love to hate. Doctor, we'd love to meet you. Why don't you tell us your name and a little bit about yourself?
Yes. My name is Dr. Jaffe. I have for the last 30 years dedicated my life to studying psychoses and evil, and with a speciality in seasonal themed psychosis.
Seasonal theme psychosis. Well, that's great because this question ties into that. If you had to take me out on a date during the midwinter solstice, which animal would you ride in to pick me up on, and why?
Well, I would definitely come inside a rhinoceros because there is so much evil in the world that it has the thickest hide and armor, and it has a horn from which we can stab the evil before it gets to you. And I would bring you and keep you safe inside the rhinoceros because it is my mission to protect all I can from the evil of seasonal psychosis.
Well, I think you've answered more than enough for this. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Act 4 plays out for you. So, thanks so much, Dr. Jaffe. I look forward to seeing you in later installments. And finally, the person you love to think you've seen, our killer. Hello, killer. How are you doing today? Wonderful. So, it looks here that because you have no tongue, you have to write your name out as Raymond. Raymond the killer. Well, Raymond, using your best ability, answer one question for us, please, before we get into our movie, which is, would you rather dunk chocolate in peanut butter or peanut butter in chocolate, and why?
Chocolate is yummy. Then kill chocolate. Kill peanut butter. Kill Solstice.
Well, that's a lovely episode of our dating show. We'll be back after these breaks. Thank you all, contestants. We wish you best of luck on your date and in the movie to come. We'll be back after this quick commercial break.
And scene.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Raymond the chocolate peanut butter killer.
chocolate peanut butter is a big winter solstice snack.
I would. Yeah.
Well, that brings us sort of to the end of Act 1. We're going to call that the end of Act 1. That's the nice thing about these stories not requiring a whole lot of storytelling per se, is we can take a whole act where it's all establishing anyway. So
I love it.
Nothing has happened yet, but we have established the main characters and the three friends and some of the motivations and the traits of each. So now we're going to continue the story moving into Act 2, where there's going to be stalking. We're going to see some of Raymond killing, and we're going to do an improv game called Gibberish Switch Typewriter. So Mike and I will tell a story, and I think we'll have to talk and clap. So if I start the story, when Mike claps and says switch, if Mike claps and doesn't say anything, then he's going to start telling the story, and I'll stop. He'll continue where I left off.
Sure.
We'll switch back and forth. If one of us claps and says switch, if we're speaking English, we'll start speaking gibberish, which is a made-up language that no one understands, but we'll have to pretend like we do. And then we clap and say switch, we'll switch back to English. And then periodically, either of us can double clap. If we're telling the story like that, we'll start acting out in a scene. And then if we double clap at that point, we'll go from the scene back to the storytelling.
Yep. Love it. Love it. Makes total sense.
If that doesn't make clear sense, hopefully you'll get it in the first minute of us playing it.
Oh, God, I hope so. All right. So here we are with Act 2 of Fallen Night of Terror.
Fallen Night of Terror.
I'll start as the narrator, just to get it going.
Okay.
Okay. Typewriter. The camera pans up across late afternoon, 2 days before the winter solstice. The town is gray, but people are moving around, eating small holiday treats, and kind of waving at each other. We pan in on Heather, who's walking alone home from high school where she's a senior. She walks by a small park where she sees two boys talking.
She walks up to them and says, "Hey guys, I heard you say the name Raymond. What were you talking about? What does Raymond have to do with this?"
Oh, yeah. My dad was saying that he had to close down the shop early because somebody ended up dead in one of the back seats of the cars. But
oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, man, it's terrible. But the problem is that the way that guy was killed.
Switch.
And 14 inches of lead pipe sticking out of his left eye hole. Yeah.
Oh my God. Do you think it's safe for you to just be in this park? And then maybe we should all just go home. I mean, it sounds like there's a killer out there.
Well, yeah, but according to the police, it happened sometime in like the middle of the night, so we should be all right. It's only late afternoon, As he's talking, the camera pans up, and you see from behind a tree two glowing eyes as a head slowly leans out and starts to examine the three people talking. So, anyways, I think, I'm just going to wait until dinner time, then go and have a little bit of food. Besides, tonight's lifting at the gym. I don't want to, not get my leg day in.
Okay, Ralph, you be safe. Dave, listen, do you want to maybe, you want to come over and study tonight? I think it's safer we stay inside.
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice. I'd love to do that. Why don't I go get dinner and then I can go,
Switch.
Huh?
I did
Switch.
But I don't have any lactose in my house, so this time you should be okay.
Okay, that's a good idea because I'm thinking to the switch.
Tonight. You understand me, Dave?
Dave nods his head, and the two of them get up and start to walk off, still talking. The camera pans back. Whoever was standing at that tree is gone. The camera pans away from Ralph and moves over to a small family with two 10-year-old twins and a mother and a father carrying packages.
Daddy, can we go home? I want to open my Solstice packages. I want to open my Solstice gifts now.
Yeah, absolutely. I just have to finish getting this one package into the car and, oh gosh, the ball just rolled. Hold on a sec. Stay here. I'll be right back to get the ball.
As the father pursues the ball rolls and bumps into a pair of heavily booted feet.
Oh, sorry about that. I didn't mean to.
Chocolate! Peanut butter! We pan away and we see the father's lifeless body there with a 14-inch lead pipe. Switch. Chocolate flowing out of the hole of the pipe onto the ground, flowing down the street. He then
go for it.
You then cut to Dr. Jaffe at the police station chatting with the local sheriff.
Yes, Dr. Jaffe, we have in fact reported that Ralph's auto dealership did have what appears to be a foul play murder. It's now being worked on at the coroner.
No, it's not just foul play. It's evil. Pure evil. Raymond. It has to be Raymond. Only Raymond is capable.
Raymond has been out of this town for 18 years, ever since his parents died in that bizarre winter solstice summer heat wave.
They didn't just die in the heat wave. They were killed. Switch. The peanut butter. Was there peanut butter at the scene? Yes. Was there peanut butter also at the scene at the car dealership?
Switch. No, for sure.
Switch.
14 inches is a really big thing to try and fit into a car. And peanut butter greases it in. So it's just a coincidence.
The Dr. Toffee leaves in disgust. Before he does, he turns and leaves one final warning. You don't understand. I have seen this evil before.
Switch.
If you turn to Bulkisi and flowing the blood like chocolate and peanut butter, but instead of a rhesus,
Switch.
It will be death. And Shingo the Bokante.
Switch.
Forever. Raymond will never leave this town. Even when he leaves the town, he'll never leave this town.
The camera cuts back to Heather and Dave as they're walking towards their house, and Ralph cuts across the street, and the camera starts to turn away, showing a pair of eyes following Ralph as he leans out from a window in a second story.
Oh, Dave, did you see that? Did you see that out those windows?
I thought I saw something. I mean, I don't see anything now, but the curtains are now swaying. I don't know. It's a little creepy here. I'll be feeling a little bit safer when I get inside.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been feeling really jumpy. I've been seeing these something or eyes,
Switch.
Switch.
The same 14 roses that I have are always alive. They should be dead by now. Something's keeping them alive.
Things are really creepy. I don't know, Dave. We should get home. I was getting a little jumpy around the solstice since it's the anniversary of when my parents also died in that.
Switch. Yes, I think it's a good time for us to go back, have a good dinner, and then tomorrow we can go visit your parents' grave sites.
We cut as the the two have entered Heather's house to study. Meanwhile, we come back to the park where Ralph is still there. Now, we see a hand slowly stretch out towards Ralph's shoulder.
Oh man, I really wish I could get this homework done.
Hey, Ralph.
Hey, what's going on, Sherry? I didn't think I was going to see you later on tonight.
You're so scared. You say you're not weirded out by the winter solstice stuff, but you are.
I just was a little distracted thinking about I'm finishing up my spreadsheet and how I can get maximum recruitment for my quadriceps and my leg thing. After all, I want to be looking good for when I'm hanging out with you tonight, wearing nothing but these muscles.
Oh, really? You think you're gonna get some from me tonight, big boy?
And I know how you like to work, and I know what cotton candy does to you. Switch.
Well, c'est votre tempo, et c'est dit qui
Switch.
pour a whole bag, a hefty bag size, filled with cotton candy. I got it special just for tonight.
Sounds like we got a plan. You know what? This spreadsheet will wait. Let's head back to your house.
Suddenly, the two are accosted by Dr. Jaffe, who comes running up to them and says, "Oh, you two.
Yeah.
You. Listen, have you seen anything strange? Have you seen evil? Have you seen pure evil anywhere?"
No, man, I just saw this spreadsheet right here and my girlfriend. That's it. I don't know what you mean by
creeper,
evil.
what are you doing here? Get away. Switch. Switch.
Getting some space, old man. I don't know what you're talking about, but nothing weird has happened except for that random death that happened in my father's. And 35 minutes later, somebody found the car covered in chocolate.
Did you say 35 minutes?
Yeah, 35 minutes.
Oh no, 35 minutes. They said
Switch.
It said how long Raymond was sitting over the body of his dead family so many years ago at the last solstice.
Switch.
Because of he's here. Back into your houses. Lock the doors. Don't come out for anything tonight. There is evil afoot in Clarksville.
You don't have to tell me twice. Come on, Sherry. Let's get home for this. Having said that, the two of them walk away with Dr. Jaffe sprinting towards another area of the town as the eyes have returned from the second-story window, looking out over the rapidly deserting street as night begins to fall.
And scene.
All right. And we got a death in. I'm glad we got a death in.
Although one death in. We never quite pulled the thread about the poor mom and the two kids.
I was going to try. I forgot about that. I forgot about the whole oh, God. Don't worry. They can come back in. It's improv. It can come back. All right.
We killed one random person.
Yep.
We've established what's going on in our story. Which brings us to Act 3, where the body count really starts now. The friends are killed off. Loomis, or Jaffe, accelerates his investigation. But by the end, most likely, everyone will have been killed off. At least the three friends and maybe some randos. So we're going to do an improv game called Timed Styles, which is, we're going to do a 3 minutes, I think. We'll see, maybe 4. But yeah, we'll do like a 1 minute little mini scene for each friend who dies. And we'll do this as we'll do 3 1-minute scenes. And for each one, we'll get a different suggestion. I find that in typical slasher movies, the killers tend to kill with unique objects or methodologies.
Mm-hmm.
So for each one of us will throw out a object or random thing, and that is going to be the format of the death.
Yes.
I'll keep the timer here. When 1 minute's done, we'll go right to the next one. So we're going to kill off the 3 friends 1 minute at a time in a unique way for each one.
Yep, in 3 different genres. Right?
Yeah.
Well,
each object. I think let's do a genre. Sure, let's throw a genre out too.
Or a couple genres, or something like that. You want to do that?
How about for each of the 3, we'll have a different genre. So one will be like,
Yeah. All right. Tell you what.
What the hell? Who cares?
It's fun. So tell you what. Whoever picks the genre, the other person picks the object. We'll do the 3.
And then let's do a 4th one. So we'll do 4 1-minute ones. The 4th one will be Heather, not dying, but kind of start kicking off the 4th act. Like the 4th one will be her.
Yeah. Okay.
Starting the 4th act chase sequence.
All right. Cool. I like this.
All right. So first up, let's start with Ralph.
Yep.
So Ralph, who is currently at Heather doing something or another with cotton candy at their house. So we can do a 1 minute death. All right. How about we'll alternate? So first one, you pick the genre, I'll pick the object.
Okay. First one, I'll do genre. I'll do screwy camp counselor comedy, a la Meatballs.
Screwy camp counselor comedy a la Meatballs. And I'll cheat a little bit, and I will say we're going to do death with a cotton candy machine.
Yes, that's perfect. Okay, cool. And that's going to be for Ralph.
Okay, in 1 minute. Are you ready? As a scene. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Ralph, you are amazing. That was so good. You deserve even more cotton candy now.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm really working hard to be all buff like this, you know? Hey, have I showed you my old varsity leather jacket from when I was the rowing champ over at my high school?
You haven't. Could you show it to me wearing that jacket?
Yeah.
And just that jacket?
Yes, I can. Let me go over here and let me get myself the jacket and a couple of buns to put this hot dog in.
Oh, halfway. Ooh, that makes me so, I tell you what, I'm just about ready to go again, but I'm a little hungry. Do you think you could get me some more cotton candy?
Yeah, I'll be right down. I'll come downstairs, get it, be right back up. All right, time for some cotton candy. Oh, man, this is going to be fantastic.
Cotton candy, not chocolate.
What? Hey, what are you doing, man? What are you doing here? Hey, get your hands off my jacket, man.
10 seconds.
What are you doing? You see, it's Ralph's head gets stuffed down into the cotton candy cone and pops up the back, and the cotton candy begins wrapping around his head as his body rotates around the cotton candy machine.
All right, first death down. Dave has been killed by cotton candy. Ralph has been killed by cotton candy machine.
Good.
Well, Cherry has now been left alone in the room, waiting for her naked varsity leather jacket man to bring her cotton candy. It's not. So we're going to see the second death. This time,
you pick
I will
genre.
provide the genre, and you will provide the murder object.
Mm-hmm.
So I will pick a Western.
God damn it! I was gonna do that.
Now you have to pick something else.
Yeah. Spaghetti Western, right? Or Spaghetti Western? Yeah, Western.
Any kind of Western.
Yeah.
Spaghetti, lo mein, macaroni.
Yeah.
Any Western.
All right, Western, and the object is gonna be a porcelain model horse, like the kind that you see, you know. Ooh. Yeah, I'm thinking of my daughter's room, and she had those little ones. You know what I'm saying? They're those little porcelain horses, about 4 inches, 3 inches long. They're like, you know, yeah, Palomino, one of those things.
In your daughter's room. You have thought many times about using those as a weapon.
Oh, God, yes.
All right. So, in 1 minute, Western style, with a porcelain horse, and go.
Chink,
oh, my God. Where has that guy been? What is that? It's about time you got back here. I'm mighty parched, mister. You bring me that cotton candy.
I think chocolate better than you. Feeling lucky.
Chocolate, what are you doing? She turns to look. Who are you? What? Why is that cotton candy on Ralph's head? Halfway.
The killer walks over, takes a bunch of porcelain horses and starts loading them into this big old 14-inch tube.
Mister, you made a big mistake. Those are my porcelain horses, and I know how to use them better than anybody. She stands up, arms at her sides, a porcelain horse in each of her hands as well.
The killer moves to the right, and his hand drops to his side where the tube is dangling from the...
3 seconds.
He quickly whips it up, slams the back of his hand, and the porcelain horse flies out of the tube.
No, you killed... Oh, Ralph!
Wah, wah, wah.
All right, now Cherry has been killed as well by porcelain horse. So now we're going to cut to Heather and Dave studying at Heather's house.
Yes.
Now we're going to see the untimely demise of
our nerdy Dave. Yeah, of our
nerdy Dave. And for this one, Mike will provide the genre. I will provide the object of death.
Okay, we're going to go with Pixar family film.
All right. A Pixar family film, and our object of death will be a sorry, I'm trying too hard to come up with something clever, so let me just come up with the first thing I can think of.
Right, be obvious.
With an inflatable raft.
Yes, there we go. Perfect. I love that. Inflatable raft. Got it. Okay.
All right, 1 minute. Pixar family film. Heather and Dave. Dave's death. and inflatable raft, and go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, it looks like we've got all the studying we need to be done, Heather. It's going to be great, I think. Why don't I go get some food here? I don't understand why the food is so difficult here. It's not like you can't make food like a normal thing. Why does it have to be done this way? It's so strange.
Oh, you know what, Dave? Don't worry about it. You're stressing too much. You just got to dig in deep in yourself and realize that the power to pass the test and the power to get good food, it's inside of you if you just trust yourself.
Yeah,
halfway.
Maybe you're right. I'll go to the garage and get the recipe, get the ingredients for the food here.
Okay, yeah, just go back behind the summer supplies. It's where the best food is.
All right, got it. All right, let's just move this thing here. And over here, I've got this in a, well, okay. He opens up the freezer and starts looking through for some food.
Chocolate.
Why, yes, I love chocolate, actually. Thank you so much. That goes great. Wait a second.
Peanut butter. 10 seconds.
Yes, I'd love some peanut butter. What do I do with these two things? Oh, I guess I'll just eat them both together.
Put together. Hands reach out and scratch Jeff's head together.
Ah! Blood starts pouring everywhere, mixing with the chocolate.
Head time.
I don't know if that was Pixar, but that was pretty grisly death.
I don't know if that was Pixar. I don't know what the hell that was, but once we started, I'm like, I didn't really know what typified.
Do a Pixar. All I could think was Mr.
You should
Incredible.
add that for a future genre then for
Holy
our show.
shit,
Then we can talk about what the hell makes a Pixar movie a Pixar movie.
Yeah, really. Besides
the
brilliant
animation.
Brilliant story writing and animation.
Well, that's the thing. What makes a Pixar movie a really good Pixar movie is like the storytelling and the character development.
Yeah, the pinpoint storytelling.
Hard to do in 1 minute. But hey, you know what?
Yep.
Our three friends are dead. So now we do one more 1 minute scene. We're going to see Heather kind of discover the deaths and discover Raymond and start kind of leading into the fourth act.
Yes.
So I'll pick the genre. You'll pick, it's not really an object of death, but just some kind of suggestion.
Object, yeah.
All right. So let's make this, this will be in the style of like an epic fantasy, like a Lord of the Rings.
Excellent. Okay. And the attempted murder weapon is going to be a deck of playing cards.
Deck of playing cards in 1 minute and go. It has been a long time since Dave left on that quest to get us food. I should go and seek where he is. Perhaps he is in need of aid.
Cut to 4 weeks later when she actually finally gets down to the garage.
Oh, long has been our journey, but what is this? Blood. Dave!
Chink, chink. Puny mortal. You do not understand the power that chocolate and peanut butter give me. Stand aside and bow before the might of Raymond.
Oh, foul demon Raymond, I will fight you if I must, or I will flee, for I am no match for you, but I will seek hope. I will find the heroes of the land to defeat you, Raymond. She goes running out the door.
Raymond runs out the door afterwards and says, you may flee me, but not your 52 dates with destiny, and begins flinging cards as they rotate through the air, flying at Heather.
Oh, you've stabbed my leg, but though I be dying, though I be stopped, I shall never give up on my quest to defeat you, demon.
So you have chosen death.
All right.
That is Act 3. What was this game that we did? Time Styles?
Time Styles,
I like this game. I like this game a lot.
That brings us to the end of Act 3. All the friends are dead. Raymond is in pursuit of Heather. He has injured her leg, so she is now limping and unable to move away quickly.
Mm-hmm.
This brings us to our final act and our final game, which is one we love to do to end these shows. It is a game called Cutting Room, where we'll pick up the action probably right where we left off. At any point, Mike or I can clap our hands and say, cut to, and we can cut to a different scene, a different location. We can cut to something in the past, future, completely unrelated to the movie, just randomness.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll use this to get us to the end of the story. So, Mike, are you ready?
I am ready. Let's rock this out.
All right, so let's pick up the action right with Heather limping, trying to get away from Raymond.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, someone help. There's a killer after me. It's Raymond, the Solstice killer. He's after me.
Suddenly, the brushes appear, and Dr. Jaffe comes running through. Are you okay, girl? Do you have any injuries?
My leg is injured, but he was right behind me.
He's got the ability. Where is he now? He's got the ability. He knows this land better than ours. He knows this town better. We're at terrible risk here. We've got to get you out of this town before he kills you and me.
To the disbelieving sheriff going to investigate a disturbance at Cherry's house.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, everyone gets so stupid around this solstice. I gotta check on so many calls. Hey, deputy, can you kick this door open?
Yeah, sure, boss. Okay, no problem. Hold on. Oh, hey.
Hello.
Boss, all the lights are out. Light switch isn't working.
Oh, Jesus. Just, look, you check the upstairs. I'll look around downstairs to see if there's anything interesting down here. It's probably another prank call from these stupid kids.
No problem there. Cut to the deputy up on the second floor. Got the flashlight. I got this whole day. Oh. Hey. Anybody here? He cocks his pistol. Sheriff, there's some kind of whistling in the pipes up here. I'm gonna go to this room.
Screw the pipes. Will you just give it the all clear and get the hell down? I'm gonna go back to the car. Will you just get down here already?
All right. I'm just gonna go poke my head into this room here and just...
Two hands reach out and grab the deputy around the throat, choking him so hard he can't make enough noise for the sheriff to hear him.
You see the light, the flashlight fall from his hands and topple over, spinning over and over, showing flashes of light as the hands slowly tighten with a sickening crunch as the vertebrae snaps.
To the sheriff outside the house. Now, what the hell is he doing up there with that flashlight? Damn it, do I gotta take care of everything myself? The sheriff proceeds back into the house. Cut to the upstairs.
You see the footsteps of Raymond walking, only the footsteps, squishing through the chocolate and blood-soaked carpet.
Oh my God, Deputy Jones. If you are messing around me like these damn kids, you are going to be working foot patrol duty for 2 weeks. Hello?
All of a sudden, you hear a giant tear as one of the railing banisters is torn free. It lances down through the air.
Oh, 14-inch pipe.
Cut back to Dr. Jaffe and Heather in the forest.
Dr. Jaffe, shouldn't we be going to the police or something? Why are we in the forest?
The police, don't you believe me? The police are going to walk right into one of Raymond's traps. We've got to find a way for Raymond to be distracted. Here, it's getting very close to midwinter solstice. Perhaps if we lure him back to where his parents were killed, maybe we'll be able to get him to be distracted enough that we can finally do something.
Let's cut a flashback to 30 years ago when Raymond's parents were killed at the midwinter solstice.
Mom and Dad, I don't want to go out and do the winter solstice. They've been talking these ozone holes that have been happening because of all the hairspray people have been using.
Oh, Raymond, come on. It's going to be totally rad. We're going to have a great time. I know you've been a little down and depressed, but why don't you come on? I'll tell you what. Have you had a special winter solstice chocolate and peanut butter treat?
No.
I hear they're to die for.
Oh, no. Ever since I saw E.T., I've been wanting to have those chocolate and peanut butter Reese's Pieces. Oh, I would love to have one. Okay, let's go to the winter solstice and check it out. Oh, cut to them at the winter solstice
tree. Sequence at the winter solstice where Raymond becomes overwhelmed by the sensory input of all the goings-on at the solstice.
Come join us for a fun time, Raymond. Have some of this eggnog, peanut butter, eggnog.
Hey, what do you want for Christmas, little boy?
I'm a giant Norse snowman. You should come.
Mommy.
All right. Okay, Raymond. Why don't you go sit over there underneath that awning while we finish decorating the tree.
Cut to the inciting incident that pushes Raymond of that one final straw that drives him over the edge to kill with chocolate and peanut butter.
Son, look, the tree's almost done. All of a sudden, you see this random circle of light advancing towards the tree coming from the clouds above. Mom, there's some sort of hole in the sky. You gotta get away. It's coming right towards you. Oh, it'll be fine. Oh, God. It's burning my arm.
Oh, my God. I thought the ozone hole was a hoax. Well, honey, maybe our deaths will be enough to convince people that climate change is real.
Oh, God, I would hope so. And it just, quick, here, Raymond, have their last Reese's Pieces. She tries to throw them, but as she throws them, the chocolate and peanut butter melt into her arm, fusing her to her husband.
Oh, Mommy, Daddy, no, the chocolate, the peanut butter, the chocolate, the peanut butter. Cut you, Raymond, using this snapping and going on a killing spree at the solstice. Chocolate! Peanut butter!
Wait, Raymond, stay away from me. He puts his bike in front of him to try and intercept Raymond. Raymond, just take this steel bicycle and back away from this with this steel bicycle.
Raymond wraps the bicycle, ripping off an exact 14-inch long piece of bicycle pipe and shoving it into his friend's throat. Chocolate, peanut butter. Cut to Dr. Jaffe sitting in his office, overhearing the news report about this evil, seasonal winter solstice psychosis.
And in other news, Reese's Pieces sales have dropped 14% over the last 3 years because every year around December 21st, some sort of strange killing spree happens in the town of Clarksville. Officials still don't know the tie-in between Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, chocolate and peanut butter, and the killings. Regardless, murder is up 4,000%.
Don't understand the connection. It's obvious. It's the seasonal psychosis of the winter solstice. Someone must go. This boy must be stopped. Only I can help him.
Cut to the two of them back in present time, finally getting towards the town center where the winter solstice is.
Why God, they left these solstice decorations up ever since from so many years ago. They never took these down?
Yes, we have a very good climate here, and people are able to actually keep things up without any sort of decay. I'm actually counting on this for Raymond. See, if you look right here, this brown patch and this black patch are all that remains of Raymond's two parents. If we can get him to stand here, we might be able to trigger something, maybe stop the killing spree.
Oh my God, that's disgusting, but cut to the eyes floating in the woods, looking at Jaffe and Heather right now. Doctor, did you hear that, Dr. Jaffe? There's something in the woods, I think.
Yes, someone. Raymond, it's time for you to come and face what you've become. Come out here and see what remains of your family, of your life all those years ago.
Raymond emerges into the opening from the woods, his full evilness on display for all to see.
Now, Heather,
that's Raymond?
That is. I want you to stay here. Don't let him get too close, but try and lure him over into this area where the peanut butter stain and the chocolate stain is. I'll be back. And Dr. Jaffe begins sprinting up towards one of the buildings nearby.
Oh my, you just leave him? Oh my God.
Chocolate, peanut butter.
Raymond, I have chocolate and peanut butter.
No. He starts
untouched, as pure as the white snow, Raymond.
He starts walking towards you with the lead pipe clicking on the ground. Chocolate, peanut butter, chocolate, peanut.
Got to the production meeting where the writers and producers are discussing the scene. All right, wait a minute. So you're telling me that Dr. Jaffe's just gonna leave her there, and this guy who has been killing indiscriminately is going to suddenly just walk slowly and peacefully towards her because she has chocolate and peanut butter?
Well, we were going to have some sort of really big chase, but the problem is our budget's over by about $3 million, so we thought it would make more sense to just kind of have one of our main characters leave for a while and save on some casting costs. I realized...
Budget, you know what? Real creative people don't talk to me about budgets, all right? I'm the producer, you're the creative. You know what? Did you know Blair Witch was made for $100,000 and made $300 million?
Oh,
this could be our Blair Witch if you could just get your head out of your ass and come up with a creative idea. Cut back to the original scene and see what random creative idea the writer came up with for this scene.
Chocolate, peanut butter. Suddenly the camera cuts up and you see Dr. Jaffe riding a giant reindeer with a giant sun lamp attached to it. I bet you thought I was running over.
Ho, Raymond. It is I, Santa Jaffe. Shines the sunlight lamp down onto Raymond, exposing him to the sunlight.
Oh, God, peanut butter.
Cut back to the next production meeting.
Well,
all right, I like where you're going here. But the sunlight, he's been in the sun before. Are you saying he's suddenly a vampire?
It's a special sunbeam that was, harnessed from Ralph's garage, and it uses a special engine or something like that. I mean, the important thing is that there's a closing of symbolism here, like the sun burned his parents, and now the sun burns him. I think that's a really important thing to think about.
I like the environmental message. It's going to play good with the green groups.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll with it. We're out of money anyways. Let's roll with it. Come back to the scene.
Chocolate, peanut butter. He begins flailing.
Heather.
He begins flailing his 40-inch pipe in the direction of Heather.
Heather, quickly, drag him, lure him, get him onto the spot. Get him onto the spot.
Oh, chocolate, peanut butter.
Raymond, come here. Get out of the sunlight. Right here. Stand right here. You'll be out of the sunlight. Come closer.
Raymond lurches over and stands right next to Heather in the spot that Dr. Jaffe told him to.
Up to the suddenly Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows-esque scene where the two ghostly spirits of Raymond's parents appear to speak to him.
Son, what have you been doing? We're okay. It was never your fault that we died.
Mommy, Daddy, I was so sad. I watched you die in front of me. I just wanted the pain to go away by hurting everybody.
Well, I understand, son. It is painful, but you have to remember something. It's never the fault of you when something like this happens. It's really the fault of big corporations like Mars and Keebler that create these awfully tempting desserts that make us behave completely irrationally. So if you're going to go on a killing spree, kill the right people.
Okay, I'll go find the Mars and Keebler and Reese's headquarters. I'll go kill all of them. Would that make everything better?
I think it would make the world a better place.
In fact, you know what, son? If you were to do that, that will be totally rad.
Cut to the denouement, or the end sequence after Raymond has run away into the forest, where Heather and Dr. Loomis are talking about the end result of him disappearing.
Dr. Jaffe, Raymond just disappeared. He took his pipe and ran off. Does that mean that it's over? Are we all safe now?
It may very well be. I mean, if you think about it, he was confronted with his own deepest fears. He had to learn to face them. The triggering of the sun fear, combined with him reliving that moment of death, may have snapped him loose from his killing spree. We can only hope.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jaffe. I know all my friends are dead, and the sheriff is dead, and the deputy's dead, and people have died all in this town, but at least I'm alive, and I have you to thank for that.
My pleasure, my dear. Now we may just hope and pray this is the last that we've seen of Raymond.
Cut to the mid-post-credit scene at the reception desk of the Mars Corporation.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mars headquarters, please hold. Yes, Mars headquarters, please hold.
From behind the receptionist desk, you see two boos go. Go, Mars
headquarters, please hold.
A hand slams the phone down from behind her.
What? Hello? Oh, can I help you with?
A 14-inch steel pipe drives through the receptionist's eye, impaling itself through the phone as she slowly sinks down onto the table.
Cut to black.
I wanted to. Yes, I'm so glad. I was like, please have a mid-credit scene. Please do that. I was like, you have to. I was like, how am I going to kill this person?
All right, so friends, that brings us to the end of our story, Fallen Night of Terror. Our Halloween-esque story about the winter solstice.
So that was some legit good stuff. The death scenes were awesomely legit. I was digging those death scenes. I was like, we got some good ones in there.
I enjoyed it. That was a ton of fun to perform. Hopefully, you listening had as much fun listening as we did performing it. If so, please, a couple quick things you can do to help us. Head over to Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast app you use.
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe and follow if you don't already, so you can get the new episodes when they come out. They come out once a week, usually on Tuesdays. Leave us a 5-star rating because that helps people find us. And if you're so inclined, leave us a short review. It doesn't have to be very long, but just a couple sentences about what you like about the show and what others may get from it. Also, if you like it, go ahead and share the link to this episode on your social media, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you like to social mediate, and that will be great for us.
Yes.
And check out our website, avishanmike.com. You can get past episodes as well as you can contribute ideas for future ones as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mike, thank you very much. Great job as always.
Avish, thank you very much. Great job as always. That's a lot of fun, man. And I think we did some justice to that little genre right there.
I think so. A lot of fun. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next week, where I believe we will do one more Halloween horror style episode to kind of finish off our Halloween run here.
That is correct.